So this look is going to be a purple smoky eye with a light lip. To start, I like to do the brows first. So here I'm using a ColourPop brow pencil in black and brown. I usually like to start at the ends of the brows and then go towards the front. So I really focus on the arch and then like filling in the ends of the brow and making sure the arch is really on point and matches with the rest of her brow. And then you also want the brows to be darker at the ends and lighter towards the front. And also make sure it's all blended and not too harsh, so I'm using my spoolie to brush them out. And then I'm just going to do the same thing the other side, and I always start brushing them upwards with my spoolie first before starting to fill them in. It's also good to remember that brows are sisters, not twins. So most people's brows are not exactly identical, or bone structure will kind of is different on both sides of the face. So it won't be exactly the same. So I wouldn't take too much time or get too hard on yourself about them looking a little different, because they won't be exactly the same. As you can see, her brows are slightly different, but that is totally fine. And then next I'm just putting a little bit of Benefit's Gimme Brow on there just to set them in place throughout the day and give them a little bit more volume basically in. And now I'm taking a concealer to clean up the brows and prime the lids. Here I'm using the ColourPop concealer in medium tan with the ColourPop's fluffy brush. I'm just making sure it's all blended out evenly. Now I'm using an orange tan color as a transition shade with a blending brush. And for this look, I am using colors from the ColourPop Double Entendre palette, Morphe 39A, ColourPop She palette, and Dose of Colors Desi and KD collection palette. So next I'm using a plum color from the Morphe 39A palette with the same blending brush in her crease. And I'm just going back and forth in windshield wiper motions and then also doing little circles as well in her crease. And then I'm taking a more precise blending brush with a deeper plum shade in the crease. And this deeper plum shade is from the ColourPop She palette. So I'm just blending the purple out just a little bit more with that blending brush again, making sure it's all fluid together. So I decided I want to deepen the outer V of her eyelid a little bit more, so I'm using a brown shade from the ColourPop Double Entendre palette, and it's like a deeper brown. I'm just more focusing on the outer V of her eye, as you can see here, with a slanted blending brush. Now I am taking a concealer with a flat eyeshadow brush to cut the crease. So I'm first laying it down and swiping it down, then I'm tracing the eyelid, the crease area. So basically you're just tracing the eyelid and the crease, so it's very nice and precise. And once you get towards the end of the eyelid, you just slightly blend the concealer in with the eyeshadow and then apply more of the brown shade used on the outer V. And as you can see, I did the same to the other eye, so this will just help basically make the crease very prominent and be a good base for the eyeshadow that I'm using on top. And on top of the concealer, I'm using the shade Turbo Sun from the Dose of Colors Desi and Katie palette. And this is like a purple gunmetal glitter shade. And first I'm using my finger to apply to give it more color, and then I'm using my brush to get it more precise where I want it to be. It also helps to wet dampen your brush or your finger before putting on the eyeshadow. I should have done this before I applied the shadow. Would have been more easier to apply and would have had a better color payoff. So you can dampen it with water or like even like a toning mist or a setting spray on your finger or a brush. Now I'm just using a makeup wipe to clean up any fallout that's underneath the eye and clean up the outer V so it's more clean and there's not a lot of eyeshadow at the end of her eye. Now I'm using the Too Faced Hangover Primer to prime before foundation. This is, some people like to use primer, some people don't. I think it's preference. You could always just use your moisturizer as primer. So now I'm applying Aveda's Tinted Moisture in the shade 3 and 4. I mix them together, and then I'm applying with a complexion brush and then blending it out with a beauty blender. I love blending foundation with a beauty blender because I feel like it really gets your face looking like a flawless coverage, flawless finish. Also, I feel like it just blends everything so seamlessly and there's no streaking or harsh lines. And make sure that is all blended down the neck as well, because you don't want your neck to be a different color than your face. Next, I'm adding concealer to the under eye area in a triangle shape. And you don't want to add too much because you don't want it to crease, so I'm just using my beauty blender and I dampened it, and I'm just blending it where the under eye area is and making sure it's all the way blended out so there's no creases. And I'm also adding concealer to highlight her nose, her forehead, and her chin, and blending it with the beauty blender. Make sure everything is all blended out before setting the face. And as you can see here, I'm just taking my fluffy brush and blending the concealer out one more time before I set it. Then I am setting her face with a Laura Mercier translucent powder with a large blending brush. And you really want to make sure before you apply it, you tap the brush, because I did get some on her shirt, so just tap it, make sure there's not a lot of fallout. Next, I'm using the same colors I use in her crease with a smudger brush on her lower lash line, starting with the lightest color to the darkest color. So first I started off with the orange tan color, and then I took the plum color underneath her lower lash line. And then a slight bit of the darker brown. Then I'm adding highlight on the high points of her cheeks, bridge of the nose, and the cupid's bow. I'm using Mirame highlight from Dose of Colors, the Desi and Katie collection. And then I applied that with a fluffy brush from Morphe. Now for a little bit of bronzer, you add this bronzer where the sun would naturally hit with an angled or fluffy face brush. So I applied it around her cheekbones and then the temples of her forehead and then our jawline. So next for mascara, apply this. Have your client or someone you're doing looking down, and then apply the wand. Use the wand to apply at the base of the lashes, wiggling it up. And here I'm using Aveda's mascara in the shade Black. And then for the bottom lashes, look up and slightly sweep the wand over the lashes. For lips, I'm going for a nude color to pair with the intense eyes. First, I am using a nude lip liner, starting at the corner of the lips, then going towards the cupid's bow area, and then on the bottom lip, go towards starting at the outside, going in. Here I'm using a NYX NYX lip liner. And then I am using a lip brush and a nude lipstick and applying the lipstick over the liner. Here I am using a Dose of Colors lipstick called More Creamer Please from the Desi Katie collection as well. And once the lip is complete, you can choose to add false lashes or just do more mascara, whatever you choose. Thanks so much for watching. This is the final look.